The Mercedes tore through Busan's rain-slick streets like a bullet through silk. 3 in the morning, and the city blurred past in streaks of neon and shadow. In the back seat, Zara Banks sat frozen, her emerald dress torn at the shoulder, mascara tracking down her cheeks like war paint. Blood, not hers, stained the hem. A man's Armani jacket draped over her bare shoulders still held his warmth, his scent. Bergamot and gunpowder. Her hand trembled as she stared at the business card between her fingers. Black matte finish, silver embossed lettering. Kang Minho and a phone number. Nothing else. No title. No company. Men like him didn't need explanations. You should have run, she whispered to her reflection in the rain-streaked window. But her reflection just stared back with eyes that knew the truth. She was never going to run. Not from him. Not anymore. The driver's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. We're here, Miss Banks. 72 hours earlier, Zara had been a different woman. Or maybe she'd been pretending to be. Friday morning at Dong-A Future Technologies always smelled like burnt coffee and corporate anxiety. Zara navigated the open-plan office with the precision of someone who'd learned to make herself simultaneously visible and invisible. The only black woman in the quantum computing division. The only woman, period, in a department of 43 engineers. Her heels clicked against polished floors as she carried her tablet toward the conference room. Min SEO from accounting looked up, then quickly away. Always the same choreography. See the foreign woman. Remember she's technically your superior. Resent it. Smile anyway. Zara Nim, the presentation is ready, her junior engineer Park stammered in Korean, pushing his glasses up his nose. He was 24 and terrified of her. Not because she was cruel, but because she was correct. Always. Thank you, Park SSI. Did you run the encryption sequence I asked for? Yes, but... He hesitated. In Korean corporate culture, but was a dangerous word. The processing time is still longer than projected. Zara pulled up the data on her tablet, fingers flying across the screen. Quantum encryption protocols that could theoretically make every current security system on Earth obsolete. Her baby. Her breakthrough. The reason Dong-A had extended her 6-month contract into 18 months of promotions and increasingly suspicious levels of investment. We'll solve it, she said, softer now. Park relaxed. Good work. Get some coffee. You look dead. He laughed, bowed slightly, and scurried away. Zara watched him go and felt the familiar weight settle on her chest. Competence. Composure. Control. The 3 C's that had gotten her from Atlanta to South Korea, from struggling grad student to director of analytics. The 3 C's that were slowly suffocating her. Her phone buzzed. A text from Chi. Chi, girl. Girl. Tonight. The Lotus Room. I got us in. Zara, what's the Lotus Room? Chi, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Lucky for you, Hannah knows people. We're something that says, I might ruin your life but you'll thank me for it. Zara smiled despite herself. Chi, Chioma Okonkwo, Nigerian-British firecracker who worked in fashion export and had somehow decided Zara was her personal reclamation project. You're too fine to be this boring, Chi had declared the first time they met at a networking event. We're fixing you. Zara, I have work tomorrow. Chi, it's Friday. You have a cat tomorrow. Malcolm will survive. Say yes or I'm showing up at your apartment with Hannah and we're dragging you out in whatever you're wearing. Zara, fine. Chi, that's my girl. 10 p.m. Wear the green dress. Zara locked her phone and stared at her reflection in the black screen. Who was she tonight? Corporate Zara, who'd go home, order delivery, fall asleep to Netflix with Malcolm purring on her chest. Or the other Zara, the one who put on red lipstick and danced at Club Azure until her feet bled, who let strange men buy her drinks she never drank, who laughed too loud and felt too much and remembered what it was like to be alive instead of just efficient. The green dress, Chi had said. Zara had bought it 6 months ago in a moment of wild optimism and never worn it. Too much. Too visible. Too honest about what she wanted. Maybe it was time to be honest. The presentation went perfectly. It always did. Her director, a silver-haired man named Cho who'd never once pronounced her name correctly, nodded approvingly as the board members asked their questions, and Zara answered with the kind of confidence that came from being smarter than everyone in the room and knowing it. "Excellent work, Miss Banks," Cho said in English, even though her Korean was better than his English. "The investors will be very pleased." "Investors?" Zara asked. "I thought this was internal development." "Dong-ah has many partners," Cho said, and his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Very interested partners. You should be proud. Your work is attracting significant attention." Something cold slithered down Zara's spine, but she smiled and bowed and collected her materials. Attention. She'd wanted attention when she'd published her first paper on quantum encryption. She'd imagined academic recognition, maybe a professorship, definitely a Nature publication. She hadn't imagined this. The way Cho looked at her sometimes, like she was a particularly valuable piece of equipment. The NDAs that kept multiplying. The security clearances. The feeling that her work had stopped being hers somewhere along the way. Her phone buzzed again as she walked back to her desk. Unknown number. "Welcome to Busan, Zara Banks. We've been waiting for you." Her fingers froze over the delete button. Wrong number. Spam. Or something else. She deleted it. Probably nothing. By 8 p.m., Zara stood in her apartment staring at her closet like it was a portal to another dimension. Malcolm, her sleek black cat, wound between her ankles and meowed judgmentally. "Don't look at me like that," Zara muttered. "You're not the one who has to decide between safe and stupid." Malcolm meowed again. In Zara's experience, cats always voted for chaos. The apartment was small but hers. 14th floor overlooking Guangali Beach, close enough to hear the ocean if she opened the windows. She'd decorated it carefully, minimalist, clean lines, nothing too personal. A place designed for someone passing through. Except she'd been passing through for 18 months now, and the roots were starting to show. A photo of her grandmother on the bookshelf. African fabrics draped over the boring beige couch. A collection of Korean skincare products that had taken over her bathroom like a cheerful invasion. She pulled out the green dress. Silk, emerald, backless, with a slit that climbed to mid-thigh. The kind of dress that didn't apologize. She'd bought it the same week she'd gotten her third promotion, in a boutique in Siamayan where the shop owner had looked her up and down and said in English, "This dress is for a woman who knows what she wants." Zara hadn't known what she wanted then. She still wasn't sure. But she was tired of pretending she didn't want anything at all. The transformation took an hour. Shower, shea butter, the complicated alchemy of makeup that made her look like herself but more. She left her hair natural, tight curls that framed her face like a crown. Gold hoops. The dress that felt like liquid confidence. Fenty heels that added 3 inches and could probably be used as weapons. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. No, that was wrong. She recognized her perfectly. This was the Zara she kept locked away during business hours. The one who danced. Who laughed. Who wanted things. "One drink," she told Malcolm as she grabbed her clutch. "Network a little. Home by midnight. No drama." Malcolm looked supremely unconvinced. Chi and Hannah were waiting outside in Chi's Mercedes, both of them already half-drunk on pre-game champagne and confidence. "Look at you," Chi screamed through the window, then turned to Hannah. "Look at her. I told you. I told you she was fine." Hannah, Korean-American with pink hair and the energy of someone who'd done cocaine but was just naturally like that, whistled. Okay, I see you. That dress is a whole crime scene. People are gonna die tonight." Zara slid into the back seat, and Chi immediately thrust a champagne flute into her hand. "To bad decisions and worse men." "I'm not drinking yet," Zara protested. "It's champagne, it doesn't count," Chi said. "Besides, you're gonna need it. The Lotus Room isn't your regular club, babe." "What is it then?" Hannah and Chi exchanged a look. "It's where Busan's real power players go to play," Hannah said carefully. "Invitation only. Very exclusive. Very connected." "Connected how?" The kind of connected where you don't ask questions, Chi said. Politicians, chaebol, entertainment people. And. She paused. Others. Others. The Kang family will probably be there, Hannah said, and even through her champagne buzz, she looked nervous. Who's the Kang family? Chi leaned forward. Old money that got new dirty. They run half of Busan's shipping industry, the legal half. The other half. She made a vague gesture. Let's just say there are reasons ships come and go from Busan port without too many questions asked. You're taking me to meet the Korean Mafia. We're taking you to a party that they sometimes attend, Hannah corrected. Big difference. Just don't stare at anyone too long, don't accept drinks from strangers, and for the love of God, if someone asks you what you do, be vague. Zara should have said no. Should have asked Chi to turn the car around. Should have gone home to Malcolm and Netflix and safety. Instead, she drained her champagne. Let's go meet some bad men. The Lotus Room sat on Wangneongsan Mountain like a secret the city was keeping from itself. The drive up was all switchbacks and darkness, the city lights falling away below them until they pulled up to what looked like a traditional Hanok mansion that had been renovated by someone with unlimited money and complicated taste. Red lanterns illuminated the entrance. Men in black suits with earpieces flanked the doors, checking invitations on tablets. Behind them, the sound of music and laughter and power. Zara's heels clicked on stone as they approached. One of the guards looked at her, really looked at her, and she felt the familiar cocktail of visibility and vulnerability that came with being a black woman in spaces that didn't expect her. But Hannah flashed something on her phone, the guard nodded, and suddenly they were inside. The interior stole Zara's breath. Traditional Korean architecture married to modern luxury, exposed wooden beams, silk cushions in sunken lounge areas, paper lanterns casting golden light over beautiful people drinking expensive liquor. The air smelled like jasmine and ambition. Holy shit, Zara breathed. Right. She grabbed her hand. Come on. Let's get a drink before you freeze up and remember you're technically a responsible adult. They navigated through the crowd. Zara caught snippets of conversation in Korean, English, Japanese, Mandarin. A woman in a dress that cost more than Zara's monthly salary laughed at something a silver-haired man whispered in her ear. In the corner, she recognized a face from television. An actress. A news anchor. Is that Seo Jiwon? Zara hissed. Probably, Hannah said. She's dating some chaebol heir. Or was. Hard to keep track. They found a spot near the bar, and she ordered something complicated in Korean. The bartender, a woman with a geometric haircut and the deadpan expression of someone who'd seen everything, mixed their drinks with the precision of a surgeon. Zara sipped hers. Vodka, lychee, something that tasted like starlight and bad choices. Perfect. Okay, game plan, Chi said. We mingle. We look gorgeous. We do not, under any circumstances, get involved with everyone. A voice cut through the music. We're playing a game. Zara turned. A man in a designer suit stood on a raised platform, grinning like a shark. Young, handsome, probably someone's son learning how to be dangerous. The chair game, he announced in Korean, and the crowd cheered. You know the rules. When the music stops, find a lap. Get comfortable. Get to know each other. Oh no, Hannah said. Oh yes, Chi grinned. This is perfect. Come on, Zara. Absolutely not. Don't be boring. Chi was already pulling her toward the forming circle of players. It's just a game. What's the worst that could happen? Zara would remember that question later. Would remember the exact moment she let herself be pulled into the circle of strangers, the music starting, a slowed Afrobeats remix that made her hips move before her brain could protest. She would remember circling with the others, feeling ridiculous, feeling alive, feeling the champagne and the danger and the possibility of the night. And she would remember the exact moment the music cut out. The silence was sudden and absolute. Zara's momentum carried her backward, off balance in her heels, and she fell. Her body connected with something solid. Warm. Expensive fabric and hard muscle beneath it. She'd landed directly in someone's lap. The room had gone completely still. Zara's heart hammered against her ribs as she registered where she was. Strong thighs beneath her. The scent of bergamot and something darker, more dangerous. A hand had come to rest on her hip, not grabbing, just steadying. Possessive in its casual confidence. She turned her head and forgot how to breathe. The man whose lap she occupied was possibly the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. Sharp jawline that could cut glass, dark eyes that held secrets and violence in equal measure, black hair swept back to reveal a face that belonged on billboards or wanted posters. Early 30s, maybe. A black suit tailored so perfectly it had to be custom. And there, just visible above his collar, the edge of a tattoo creeping up his neck. But it was his expression that froze her. Not anger. Not amusement. Something infinitely more dangerous. Interest. The room remained silent. Zara became aware of everyone staring. Of Chi's horrified face somewhere in her peripheral vision. Of the weight of attention pressing down like a physical thing. The man leaned forward, his lips nearly brushing her ear. When he spoke, his voice was low, cultured, and absolutely lethal. English, barely accented. You have two choices. Each word was deliberate, measured. You get up right now and apologize very prettily. Or you stay exactly where you are and we see what happens. Choose carefully. Zara's mind went blank. Every survival instinct screamed at her to move, to apologize, to extract herself from whatever dangerous situation she'd stumbled into. This was clearly someone important. Someone who expected deference. Someone used to getting it. She stood. Turned to face him. And then, in perfect Korean, she said, I apologize for the intrusion, Sajangnam. But I don't take orders from men I don't know. The room gasped. Actually gasped. The man's expression shifted, just barely, just enough. The corner of his mouth twitched. His dark eyes traveled over her face like he was memorizing it, cataloging it, deciding what to do with her. Then he stood, and Zara had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself with the kind of confidence that came from knowing exactly how much damage he could do and being comfortable with that knowledge. He adjusted his suit jacket with one hand. The other, and Zara noticed this now, had intricate tattoos winding over his knuckles. Dragons, she thought. Or serpents. The ink disappeared beneath his cuffs, suggesting a canvas that extended far beyond what was visible. Come with me, he said. Not a question. Not quite a command. Something in between. Chi materialized at Zara's elbow, her voice tight with panic. Zara, she whispered in English. That's Kang Minho. His family. I know who he is, Zara lied, her eyes never leaving Miho's face. She didn't know. Didn't know anything except that she should walk away right now and she absolutely wasn't going to. And? Minho asked, one eyebrow raised. Are you coming, or do I need to make it an order? You could try, Zara said. I don't follow those very well. His smile was sharp enough to draw blood. Perfect. He turned and walked toward a hallway at the back of the room. Zara followed. She could feel every eye in the place tracking her movement, could hear the whispers starting already, could imagine Chi's internal meltdown. But her feet kept moving, and she kept her spine straight, and she followed Kang Minho into the dark. The hallway opened into a private room that made the main space look modest by comparison. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Busan's harbor, the city spread out below like scattered diamonds. A low table sat in the center, surrounded by silk cushions. Expensive art on the walls, not reproductions. A bar stocked with bottles that probably cost more than Zara's education. Minho gestured to the cushions. Sit. Ask nicely, Zara said, even as her heart tried to escape through her throat. He laughed. Actually laughed, a low, genuine sound that transformed his face entirely. Please, he said, settling onto a cushion across from her. Sit. I promise not to bite. Unless you ask. Zara sat, tugging her dress down even though the slit made modesty mostly theoretical. Minho produced a bottle of sake from somewhere, along with 2 ceramic cups. He poured one, lifted it to his lips, drank. Then poured another and slid it across the table to her. You don't drink from strangers, he observed. Smart women don't. I just drank from your cup first. Proof it's not poisoned. Proof you have an antidote, maybe. Another smile. What's your name? You don't know it already. I know what people call you at Donga Future Technologies. I want to know what you call yourself. Zara's blood turned to ice. You've been checking up on me. I check up on everyone interesting who comes to Busan. You're very interesting, Miss Banks. Quantum computing specialist. Published 3 papers before you were 25. Turned down positions at MIT and Stanford to come work for a mid-tier Korean tech company on a 6-month contract that somehow became 18 months. Also, you dance at Club Azure every Friday night until 3 a.m. and have a cat named Malcolm. See? I pay attention. That's not paying attention, Zara said, her voice shaking with something between fear and fury. That's stalking. I prefer the term due diligence. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, and the lamplight caught the sharp angles of his face. Information is power, Miss Banks. And you're sitting on information that's worth more than you realize. My research. Your research, he confirmed. Quantum encryption that could make every current security system obsolete. Imagine what that's worth to governments. Militaries. Criminal organizations. That last part he said with a slight smile, acknowledging what they both knew, that he fell somewhere in that third category. Donga has investors protecting that research. Donga's investors include my family, Minho said casually. We're silent partners. Very silent. We prefer it that way. But we protect our investments very seriously. Zara's mind raced. You're saying you've been watching me to protect your investment? Among other reasons. What other reasons? He picked up his sake cup, studying her over the rim. 3 months ago, a Chinese syndicate tried to recruit you. You declined. Smart. 2 months ago, a North Korean operative posed as a German investor at your conference in Seoul. You didn't notice him, but we did. Last month, someone hacked your apartment's building security. Twice. We fixed it both times. Why would you? Because valuable things need to be protected, Miss Banks. And you're very, very valuable. He set down the cup. The only question is whether you're valuable enough to be protected, or valuable enough to be controlled. I haven't decided yet. I'm not a thing to be controlled. Everyone can be controlled. It's just a matter of finding the right leverage. And what's my leverage? I'm still figuring that out. His gaze traveled over her face, her shoulders, the curve of her neck. Not leering, assessing. But I have some theories. The air between them felt charged, dangerous. Zara should leave. Should run. Should call Chi and get out of this place and never come back. Instead, she reached for the sake cup and drained it in one swallow. You're not afraid of me, Minho observed. Should I be? Most people are. I'm not most people. No, he said softly. You're not. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression darkened, something violent flickering across his features before he controlled it. He stood abruptly. I have to handle something. Wait here. I'm not a dog. He paused, looked back at her, and his smile was different now. Genuine. No. You're not. But if you leave, you'll regret it. I promise you that. Then he was gone, and Zara was alone in the room with her racing heart and terrible decision-making skills. She counted to 30. Then stood. She wasn't waiting around like some obedient trophy. She wasn't. Her eye caught on a folder lying on a side table. Black leather, unmarked. Probably nothing. Probably private. Probably absolutely none of her business. She opened it. The first page was a shipping manifest. Nothing suspicious about that, Minho had said his family ran shipping. But the codes next to the container numbers made her pause. She'd seen coding systems before, obviously. This was something else. Encrypted. Deliberately obscured. The second page was a blueprint. Of a building she recognized. Donga Future Technologies. Her building. With specific offices marked. including hers. The third page made her stomach drop. Subject: Zara Banks, Quantum Encryption Protocol. Status: Active Development. Security Level: Maximum. Contingency Plans: see Protocol 7. There was a photo of her leaving her apartment. At her desk. At Club Azure. Multiple photos. Dated. Time-stamped. She flipped faster. More documents. More surveillance. Her routine mapped out with military precision. Every place she went. Every person she talked to. Everything. And at the bottom of the folder, if subject becomes liability, initiate Protocol 7. Zara's hands were shaking. The folder slipped from her fingers, papers scattering across the expensive carpet. She backed toward the door, her heel catching on the edge of a cushion. She needed to leave. Needed to get out. Needed to. The door opened. Two men in suits blocked her path. Not aggressive. Just there. Present. Immovable. Kang Minho said to wait, one of them said in Korean. I'm leaving, Zara said, hating how her voice trembled. Kang Minho said to wait, he repeated. She pulled out her phone with shaking fingers. Texted Chi, get me out of here. The response came immediately, we left. Hannah said you went with Minho willingly. Where are you? Before Zara could answer, she heard footsteps. The guards moved aside, and Minho entered the room. His knuckles were bleeding. There was blood on his white shirt cuff. His hair was slightly disheveled. But his expression was perfectly calm. His eyes went to the scattered papers on the floor. Then to Zara's face. You went through my things, he said. Not angry. Almost pleased. I like you more by the minute. Let me leave, Zara said. No. You can't keep me here. I can do whatever I want, Miss Banks. But I'm choosing to let you make your own decisions. So decide. Walk out that door and spend the rest of your life wondering who's watching you and why. Or sit down and let me explain. Explain how you've been spying on me. How you've documented my entire life. How you have a protocol for eliminating me if I become inconvenient. Yes, he said simply. All of that. Sit down. Why would I? Because you're curious. Because you're brilliant. And because despite everything, you're still here. He gestured to the cushions. Sit. Please. Zara sat. Not because she trusted him. Because he was right, she was curious, and she was still here, and some self-destructive part of her needed to know. Minho poured fresh sake for both of them. Drank from hers first again. Slid it across the table. This time, she drank. My family has been in Busan for 4 generations, he began. We started with fishing boats. Then cargo ships. Then we realized that the most valuable cargo isn't goods, it's information. Data. Secrets. We evolved. Now we facilitate transactions that other people can't or won't. We move money. We move information. We move people, sometimes. We exist in the spaces between legal and illegal, between legitimate business and necessary crime. You're gangsters. We prefer information brokers. But yes, if you need a simpler term, we're criminals. Very successful ones. He leaned back, apparently unbothered by the confession. 3 years ago, we learned that quantum encryption was about to become viable. Not theoretical, actual, functional technology that could change the entire landscape of data security. We invested in Dong-A. We've been waiting for someone like you. Someone to exploit. Someone to protect. Do you have any idea how many people want what's in your head? China. North Korea. The Americans. Russian oligarchs. Tech companies that would kill to get ahead of the curve. You're walking around with a target on your back and you don't even see it. So you decided to watch me without my knowledge or consent. Yes. And you have a plan to eliminate me if I become a problem. Yes. His honesty was more disturbing than lies would have been. Zara drained her sake cup, and he immediately refilled it. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Because I'm tired of lying to you. Everyone else in your life is lying, your company, your government, probably half your colleagues. I won't. That's the rule between us. I won't lie to you, ever. Even when the truth makes you hate me. I should hate you. You should, he agreed. But you don't. Not completely. You're angry, you're scared, but you're also sitting here drinking my sake and asking questions instead of running. Why is that, Miss Banks? Zara didn't have an answer. Or rather, she had several answers and didn't like any of them. What's Protocol 7? She asked instead. Minho's smile was slow and dangerous. Something I hope we never have to use. But if we do, you'll go quickly. I'd make sure of that. I'm not a monster, just a man who understands that sometimes terrible things are necessary. You're insane. Probably. But I'm honest about it. He stood, walked around the table, and sat beside her instead of across from her. Close enough that she could feel his body heat. Smell his cologne. See the flecks of amber in his dark eyes. Tell me to leave. Tell me you want to walk out of here and never see me again. Mean it, and I'll let you go. I'll even make sure you're protected. From a distance. Invisibly. You'll never know we're there. And if I don't tell you to leave. His hand came up, cupped her face. His thumb traced her bottom lip with agonizing slowness. Then we see what happens when two people stop pretending they're not exactly what they are. What am I? Zara whispered. Brilliant. Dangerous. Lonely. Looking for something real in a world that only wants to use you. His face was inches from hers now. Just like me. You're a criminal. You've been spying on me. You have a plan to kill me. Yes. I should walk out right now. You should. She didn't move. Couldn't move. The air between them was electric, impossible. Every rational thought in her head screamed danger, and every other part of her leaned closer. Tell me to stop, he said, his lips barely brushing hers. She didn't. The kiss was consuming. His hand slid into her hair, tilted her head back, and he kissed her like he was claiming something, proving something, promising something all at once. Zara's hands found his chest, felt his heart racing as fast as hers. He tasted like sake and danger and the kind of mistakes you make deliberately. He pulled her closer, and she went, her dress riding up as she shifted to face him properly. His other hand found the small of her back, fingers splayed against bare skin where the dress dipped low. She made a sound against his mouth, need, surrender, protest, she didn't even know, and he responded by deepening the kiss until thinking became impossible. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Minho rested his forehead against hers. Come home with me, he said. Not an order. A question. A plea. Every intelligent cell in Zara's body said no. Said run. Said this man is dangerous and you've already gone too far. Okay, she heard herself say. Okay. His smile was triumphant and tender all at once. He stood, offered her his hand. She took it. The Mercedes that picked them up was bulletproof. Zara knew this because when Minho opened the door for her, she noticed the unusual thickness of the glass, the reinforced door frame. Details a quantum physicist would notice. Details that should have sent her running. The driver didn't speak, didn't look back. Just drove through Busan's late-night streets with the efficiency of someone who'd done this route 1,000 times. Minho sat beside her, close enough that their thighs touched, his hand resting casually on her knee. Possessive. Claiming. Where are we going? Zara asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Marine City. My apartment. He glanced at her. Unless you've changed your mind. I can have him turn around. I haven't. No second thoughts. No panic. Oh, I'm panicking, Zara said. I'm just choosing to ignore it. He laughed, and the sound did dangerous things to her resolve. You're full of surprises, Miss Banks. Zara. If we're doing this, call me Zara. Zara, he repeated, like he was tasting her name. Beautiful. Strong. Means princess in Arabic, doesn't it? Flower. It means flower. Even better. Flowers are deceptive. Beautiful enough to lower your guard, but some of them can kill you. His fingers traced patterns on her thigh, just above her knee. Which kind are you, I wonder? The kind that's currently questioning all her life choices. Good. Questions mean you're thinking. Thinking means you're choosing. I want you to choose this, Zara. Choose me. Eyes open. No illusions. The car pulled up to a high-rise in Marine City, all glass and steel and architectural arrogance. The building screamed money, not new money trying to impress, but old money that didn't need to. A doorman appeared immediately, opening the car door with a slight bow. Kang Minho, he murmured, carefully not looking at Zara. They rode the elevator in silence to the top floor. Penthouse, obviously. The elevator opened directly into the apartment, which meant whoever lived here owned the entire floor. The doors slid open, and Zara stepped into a space that stole her breath for the second time that night. Floor-to-ceiling windows wrapped around the apartment, offering a 180-degree view of Gwangan Bridge and the ocean beyond. The city lights reflected off the water like liquid gold. The apartment itself was minimalist, all clean lines and expensive materials. Black leather furniture. Abstract art that was probably worth more than Zara would make in a decade. A kitchen with appliances that looked like they'd never been used. But it was the details that caught Zara's attention. The security panel by the door with more options than her office building. The cameras, small, discreet, but she noticed them. The locked doors leading to other rooms. The carefully casual way weapons were disguised as art, a sword display that was definitely functional, not decorative. A glass case with what looked like antique pistols that were probably neither antique nor for show. This isn't a home, Zara said. It's a fortress. It's both. Minho shrugged off his jacket, tossed it over a chair. Rolled up his sleeves, revealing the full extent of the tattoos on his forearms. Dragons and tigers wound around his skin in intricate detail, disappearing beneath the fabric. I don't bring people here. You're the first. Should I feel special or concerned? Both. He moved to the bar, pulled out a bottle of champagne that probably cost more than her monthly rent. I want you to feel both. I want you to know exactly what this is. And what is this? He popped the cork with practiced ease, poured 2 glasses. Brought one to her. Honestly. I don't know yet. But I want to find out. Zara took the glass but didn't drink. Looked around the space again, really looked. The blood on your knuckles earlier. What happened? Someone forgot their manners. I reminded them. Did you kill them? No. But they'll remember the lesson. He sipped his champagne, watching her. Does that bother you? It should. But it doesn't. Zara thought about lying. Decided against it. If he was being honest, she could be too. I've spent 18 months being careful. Being smart. Being the perfect corporate robot who smiles at men who underestimate me and works twice as hard for half the recognition. I came to Korea to escape my life in Atlanta, and I just built a different cage. So no, it doesn't bother me as much as it should. And that bothers me. Minho set down his glass, stepped closer. Do you know what I saw when you sat on my lap tonight? A woman who needs better balance in heels. I saw someone who was tired of performing. Tired of being what everyone expects. I see that look in the mirror every morning. His hand came up, traced her jawline. Everyone in my life is afraid of me. My employees. My enemies. My family, even. They see the Kang heir. The enforcer. The monster. You sat on my lap and talked back like I was just a man. You are just a man. No. But I want to be. With you. He took the champagne glass from her hand, set it aside. I want to be just Minho. Not Kang Minho, heir to a criminal empire. Just a man who wants a woman who sees him. I see you, Zara whispered. I see the cameras and the weapons and the blood on your knuckles. I see all of it. And you're still here. Against my better judgment. The best things usually are. He pulled her close, one hand sliding up her back to the zipper of her dress. Tell me to stop. You keep saying that. Because I mean it. The moment you want to stop, we stop. No questions. No consequences. I'll drive you home myself. Zara looked up at him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd been honest about every terrible thing he was and still made her feel more seen than anyone in years. She reached up, traced the edge of the tattoo on his neck. Don't stop. His smile was slow and devastating. Yes, ma'am. He unzipped her dress with agonizing slowness, maintaining eye contact the entire time. The green silk slipped off her shoulders, pulled at her feet. She stood before him in nothing but black lace and heels, and the way he looked at her made her feel like the most valuable thing in the world. Perfect, he breathed. You're perfect. You're a liar. I told you. I never lie to you. That's the rule. He lifted her easily, and she wrapped her legs around his waist as he carried her through the apartment to the bedroom. Black silk sheets. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view that made her feel like they were floating above the city. Moonlight and Busan's glow painting everything in silver and gold. He laid her on the bed like she was something precious and breakable, even though they both knew she wasn't. His shirt came off next, revealing the full canvas of his tattoos. Dragons wound up his ribs. A tiger prowled across his chest. Korean and Japanese characters spelled out words she couldn't read in the dim light. What do they say? She asked, tracing the characters over his heart. Sins I can't undo. Choices I don't regret. Do you regret any of this? Not even a little. He kissed her again, slower this time. Thorough. Like he was memorizing her. His hands explored her skin with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what he wanted and had the patience to take it. Zara had forgotten what it felt like to be wanted like this, not for what she could do or what she knew, but just for being herself. When he finally moved against her, into her, the city lights blurred and all she could feel was him, his weight, his warmth, the way he whispered her name like a prayer and a curse all at once. They moved together like they'd been doing this for years instead of hours, finding a rhythm that felt inevitable. After, they lay tangled in the silk sheets, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her shoulder. Stay, he said quietly. Tonight. Tomorrow. However long you want. I have work Monday. Call in sick. I don't call in sick. Start. He tilted her chin up, made her look at him. I know this is fast. I know it's crazy. But I haven't felt this alive in 10 years, Zara. Don't disappear on me yet. What happens when I do disappear? Because eventually I will. This isn't sustainable. You know that. Maybe. But I'd rather have this now than nothing at all. He kissed her forehead. Stay. Please. She should say no. Should go home to Malcolm and her safe apartment and her predictable life. Should put distance between herself and this man who'd been honest about every dangerous thing he was. Okay, she said. I'll stay. His arms tightened around her, and she felt him smile against her hair. Thank you. They fell asleep like that, wrapped around each other, the city glittering below them like permission. Zara woke to sunlight and an empty bed. For a moment, panic seized her. Where was she? What had she done? Oh God, what had she done? Then memory crashed back. Minho. The penthouse. The choice she'd made with eyes wide open. She sat up, pulling the silk sheet around herself, and looked around the bedroom properly for the first time. Minimalist, like the rest of the apartment. No photos. No personal items. Just expensive furniture and that view. It was beautiful and sterile and lonely. Through the windows, she could see Minho on the balcony, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean. Even from here, she could see the tension in his shoulders, the sharp gestures. He was angry. Zara slipped out of bed, found his discarded shirt from last night, pulled it on. It fell to mid-thigh, smelled like him. She padded barefoot toward the balcony, then paused when she heard his tone shift to something cold and commanding. She shouldn't eavesdrop. Didn't speak enough Korean to fully understand anyway. But something in his voice made her stop. Then she noticed the laptop on the dining table. Open. Screen still lit. She should walk away. should respect his privacy the way he'd violated hers. She walked to the laptop instead. The screen showed a security feed grid. Multiple cameras, multiple locations. It took her a moment to recognize what she was seeing. Then her blood turned to ice. Her apartment building. Her office. Her gym. The coffee shop she went to every morning. All of it, captured in real-time feeds. Little red dots indicated active monitoring. She clicked on a folder on the desktop. Zara Banks, surveillance. Inside were hundreds of photos. Her leaving for work. At her desk. Dancing at Club Azure. Grocery shopping. Meeting Chi for lunch. Every moment of her life for the past 3 months, catalogued and timestamped. Another folder. Zara Banks, contingency plans. She opened it with shaking hands. Documents. Extraction routes from her apartment building. Profiles of everyone she regularly interacted with. Safe houses in Busan, Seoul, Jeju. And at the bottom, a file labeled Protocol 7, Implementation Guidelines. She clicked it. The document loaded, and Zara's stomach dropped. Protocol 7, Subject Elimination. To be enacted if Zara Banks becomes compromised, uncooperative, or represents liability to organizational security. Method, staged accident preferred. Traffic incident or building fire recommended to avoid suspicion. Ensure quantum encryption research is secured before elimination. Timeline, 24 to 48 hours from authorization. Zara backed away from the laptop like it was a snake. Her vision tunneled. Her breath came in short gasps. This was real. This wasn't some theoretical danger. He had an actual, detailed plan to kill her if she became inconvenient. She heard the balcony door slide open behind her. You couldn't help yourself, could you? Minho's voice. Not angry. Almost amused. Zara spun to face him. He stood in the doorway, phone gone, hands in his pockets. Completely calm. What the fuck is Protocol 7, she demanded, her voice shaking. Exactly what it looks like. You have a plan to murder me. I have contingency plans for every valuable asset. You're no different. I'm not an asset. I'm a person. You're both. He stepped into the room, and she backed away. You're a brilliant, valuable person whose work is worth billions and could change the entire landscape of data security. That makes you an asset whether you like it or not. You were going to kill me. If necessary, yes. And now. Now. He tilted his head, studying her. Now you know too much. So you have two choices. You stay with me, under my protection, in my world. Or you run, and I can't guarantee what happens next. That's not a choice. That's a fucking cage. Maybe. But it's a golden one. And you'll be alive. Zara looked around wildly for her dress, her shoes, any escape route. I trusted you. No, you didn't. You made a choice knowing I was dangerous. You're brilliant, Zara. Don't insult us both by pretending you didn't know exactly what I was. Not this. I didn't know this. You knew enough. He moved closer, and she held up a hand to stop him. He stopped. You knew I was a criminal. You knew I'd been watching you. You knew I was dangerous. And you stayed anyway. Why? Because I was stupid. No. Because you were lonely. Because everyone in your life wants something from you, your company wants your brain, your colleagues want you to fail, your government probably wants to recruit you. I'm the only one who wants you. All of you. The brilliant parts and the reckless parts and the parts that dance at clubs until 3 a.m. because you're trying to feel something real. You want to control me. I want to keep you safe. There's a difference. Is there? Zara's voice broke. Because from where I'm standing, they look pretty similar. Minho was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He sat down on the couch, leaned back, and looked at her with something almost like vulnerability. Ask me anything, he said. One chance. Complete honesty. No games. Why me? Really? Not the quantum encryption bullshit. Why do you care? He was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, when you sat on my lap last night and looked me in the eye and talked back, you weren't afraid. Everyone in my life is afraid. My father was afraid of losing power. My mother was afraid of what we'd become. My enemies are afraid of what I'll do. My allies are afraid I'll turn on them. You looked at me like I was just a man. Not a monster. Not a weapon. Not an heir to a criminal empire. Just Minho. His voice dropped lower. I haven't felt like just a man in 10 years, Zara. I haven't felt seen as anything other than what I can do for people or to people. You saw me. And I got greedy. I wanted more of that. Wanted to know what it felt like to be chosen instead of feared. Zara's hands were still shaking, but something in his voice made her pause. You're asking me to trust you when you have a literal murder plan with my name on it. I'm asking you to make a choice with all the information. Stay or go. But know this, if you leave, I'll still protect you. From a distance. You'll never see me again, but you'll be safe. That's my promise. You won't be a liability because you'll be gone. And if I stay, then we figure this out together. No more secrets. No more surveillance you don't know about. You get access to everything, all the files, all the plans, all of it. You want to know what Protocol 7 is? I'll explain every detail. You want to know about my family's business? I'll tell you. Complete transparency. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of being alone. And I think you are too. Zara sank onto the opposite end of the couch, her mind racing. This was insane. He was insane. She was insane for even considering this. I need time, she said finally. How much time? I don't know. Hours. Days. I need to think. You have until sunrise tomorrow. After that, I have to make decisions about security. About you. About us. I'm giving you 24 hours, Zara. That's all I can give. Her phone buzzed from somewhere in the bedroom. Probably Chi, wondering if she was dead in a ditch. Probably a dozen missed calls and frantic texts. I need my phone, she said. Get it. She stood on shaky legs, walked to the bedroom, found her clutch on the nightstand. Her phone screen showed exactly what she expected, 15 missed calls from Chi, 37 texts ranging from, "Girl, where are you?" to, "I'm calling the police." She was about to text back when her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Hello. Miss Banks. American accent. Male. Professional. This is Agent Morrison, CIA. We need to talk about Kang Minho. Zara's blood turned to ice. She looked toward the living room where Minho sat, then back at the phone. What? We know you've made contact with Kang Minho. We know you spent the night at his penthouse. We need you to keep seeing him. Get close. Feed us information. We can protect you, Miss Banks. But we need your cooperation. How did you get this number? We've been monitoring both of you for quite some time. This is bigger than you understand. Will you help us? Through the doorway, she saw Minho stand. Walk toward the bedroom. His eyes met hers, and somehow, impossibly, she knew that he knew. Knew she was on the phone. Knew who she was talking to. The look on his face said everything. I need to think about it, Zara said into the phone. You have 48 hours. After that, we'll have to assume you're compromised. Agent Morrison hung up. Zara lowered the phone slowly. Minho stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. CIA, he asked. How did you know? You got that look. The same look you had when you found the files. Like your world just got more complicated. He leaned against the doorframe. What did they offer you? Protection. If I spy on you. And will you? That was the question, wasn't it? Zara looked at this man who'd been honest about every terrible thing he was. Who'd promised her truth and delivered surveillance and murder plans. who looked at her like she was the most important thing in the world and also an asset to be managed. She thought about her grandmother, who'd survived things Zara couldn't imagine and taught her that survival sometimes meant making impossible choices. Thought about the life she'd built in Busan, carefully controlled, meticulously managed, ultimately empty. Thought about what it felt like to be seen, really seen, even by someone dangerous. I don't know, she said honestly. Minho nodded slowly. Fair enough. But you need to decide soon, Zara. Because now you're caught between my world and theirs, and the middle ground is the most dangerous place to be. Zara walked past him to the balcony, needing air, needing space, needing to think. The morning sun painted Busan in gold and pink, the ocean stretching endless and indifferent to her crisis. Behind her, she heard Minho follow but keep his distance. Tell me about Protocol 7, she said, not turning around. All of it. He was quiet for a moment. Then he joined her at the railing, careful not to touch her. It's a contingency plan created 3 months ago when we identified you as a priority asset. If you became compromised, recruited by a foreign intelligence service, kidnapped, or if you decided to sell your research to the highest bidder, we'd have 48 hours to secure your work and neutralize the threat. Neutralize. You mean kill? Yes. Quick. Clean. A traffic accident on Guangali Beach Road. Your car goes into the ocean. We'd make sure you didn't suffer. That was my one condition when I wrote the plan. Zara's laugh was bitter. How considerate. I know how this sounds. But think about what you've created, Zara. Quantum encryption that could make every government database, every financial system, every military communication unbreakable. Or completely vulnerable if it falls into the wrong hands. Do you have any idea how many people would kill for that? How many already have? And you're one of them. No. I'm the one trying to keep you alive long enough to decide what to do with it yourself. He turned to face her. The CIA doesn't want to protect you. They want to recruit you. Get you back to the States, get your research into their systems, and then you become a permanent asset. You'll spend the rest of your life in a lab in Virginia with a handler watching your every move. That's not freedom. That's just a different cage. And staying with you is better. I don't know. Maybe not. But at least with me, you know exactly where the walls are. He pulled out his phone, tapped something, and handed it to her. Here. Full access to all the surveillance systems. You want to see what I see? Look. Zara took the phone. The screen showed the security grid she'd seen on his laptop, but now there were additional feeds. His own apartment. His office. His car. Every camera he had access to, including the ones pointed at himself. I'm watched too, he said quietly. By my family. By my enemies. By people who want me dead or controlled or both. The difference is I chose this life. You didn't. And I won't force you into it. But you'll kill me if I leave. No. Protocol 7 is deactivated as of this morning. I deleted it while you were sleeping. He took the phone back, showed her the deleted folder. You want to walk away? Walk away. I'll make sure you're protected from everyone else, and you'll never see me again. That's my promise. Zara stared at him. Why? Because last night you asked me if I regretted any of this, and I said no. I meant it. I don't regret meeting you. I don't regret being honest. And I won't regret letting you go if that's what you choose, because forcing you to stay would mean I'm exactly the monster everyone thinks I am. The morning breeze caught Zara's hair, and she pushed it back with shaking hands. 24 hours ago, her biggest concern was whether to wear the green dress. Now she stood on a criminal's balcony, caught between the CIA and the Korean Mafia, holding the future of global encryption in her head and her heart in her hands. I need to go home, she said. I need to think. Alone. Okay. Minho pulled out his phone again, sent a text. My driver will take you. Your dress is cleaned and pressed, my housekeeper came this morning. Everything you need is in the bedroom. You have a housekeeper. I have a lot of staff you haven't met. Most of them are very good at being invisible. He finally reached out, tucked a curl behind her ear. Take all the time you need, Zara. But know this, whatever you decide, I meant everything I said last night. About seeing you. About wanting you. About all of it. She should say something. Should thank him or curse him or something. Instead, she just nodded and went to get dressed. The drive back to her apartment felt surreal. Same city, same streets, completely different woman staring out the window. The driver, a different one from last night, older, with kind eyes, didn't speak except to confirm her address. When they pulled up to her building, he handed her a card. Kang Minho said if you need anything, call this number. Anytime. Day or night. Zara took the card, nodded, and escaped into her building before she could think too hard about what it meant that a criminal's driver was being kind to her. Malcolm attacked her ankles the moment she opened her apartment door, yowling his displeasure at being abandoned overnight. She scooped him up, buried her face in his fur, and finally let herself feel everything she'd been holding back. Terror. Exhilaration. Confusion. Desire. The weight of impossible choices. Her phone buzzed. Chi, of course. I'm alive, Zara texted. At home. Need time. We'll call soon. The response was immediate, thank God. Thought you were dead or married to a gangster. Call me when you're ready. Love you. Zara set down her phone and looked around her apartment. Her safe, boring, carefully controlled apartment. Malcolm purred in her arms. Outside the window, Guangali Beach stretched pristine and peaceful. Her laptop sat on her desk, probably full of work emails. Her life, waiting to resume like nothing had happened. Except everything had happened. She thought about Minho's words. About being seen. About choosing a cage with open eyes. About the difference between protection and control, if there even was one. She thought about her grandmother, who'd fled Ghana at 19 with nothing but ambition and survived 40 years in America through sheer force of will. What would she say about this? Probably something wise about knowing when to run and when to stand your ground. Zara set Malcolm down, made coffee, and did what she always did when life got complicated. She made a list. Option 1, run. Leave Korea. Go back to Atlanta or somewhere new. CIA might still want her. Other agencies too. Minho promised protection, but could she trust it? Her research would continue without her. Someone else would finish it. Safe. Alone. Same as before, just different location. Option 2, CIA. Cooperation means protection. Probably. Also means permanent surveillance, handlers, no freedom. Betraying Minho, who'd been honest when he didn't have to be. Becoming exactly what she'd run from, a tool for someone else's agenda. Option 3, Minho. Danger. Definitely danger. But honesty. Complete transparency, if his offer was real. Access to information, resources, protection from someone who understood the game. Choosing the devil she knew over the ones she didn't. Accepting that safety was an illusion anyway. Option 4, herself. Finish the research. Publish it publicly. Make it impossible to control. Burn down every option and force a new game. Probably get killed, but at least on her own terms. She stared at the list for a long time. Malcolm jumped onto the desk, walked across her keyboard, and sat on the notebook like he was rendering judgment. You're right, Zara told him. I'm overthinking this. The truth was simpler than her list. The truth was that for 18 months, she'd been going through the motions of a life. Working. Existing. Dancing away her loneliness and calling it freedom. And last night, for the first time since leaving Atlanta, she'd felt awake. Awake and terrified and alive. Her phone rang. Unknown number again. She almost didn't answer, then changed her mind. Miss Banks. Agent Morrison's voice. Have you considered our offer? I have questions first. Of course. Ask. How long have you been watching me? A pause. Since you published your second paper on quantum encryption. About 3 years. And you let me come to Korea. Let me work for a company with criminal connections. We were curious to see who would make contact. Kang Minho's family was one of several possibilities. You've helped us map a network we've been trying to penetrate for years. So I've been bait. You've been an asset. There's a difference. Is there? Zara laughed bitterly. Everyone keeps using that word. Asset. Like I'm a thing instead of a person. You're a brilliant woman whose work has significant national security implications. We want to help you develop it safely. Bring you home. Give you resources, protection, a team. You could change the world, Miss Banks. In a lab in Virginia with handlers watching my every move. Silence. Then, who told you that? Doesn't matter. Is it true? Security measures would be necessary, yes. But you'd have freedom within appropriate parameters. Appropriate parameters. Like a very nice cage. Miss Banks. I need more time. We don't have more time. Kang Minho's family is dangerous. The longer you're close to him, the more compromised you become. We need your answer. And if I say no? Another pause, longer this time. Then we'll have to consider you a potential threat to national security. I'm sure you understand what that means. The implicit threat hung in the air. Cooperate or become a target. I understand perfectly, Zara said. I'll call you back. She hung up before he could respond. Her hands were shaking again. Malcolm headbutted her palm, demanding attention. She scratched behind his ears and thought about cages and choices and the illusion of freedom. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. But she knew who it was. I'm having dinner at my penthouse tonight. 8 p.m. Come if you want. Don't if you don't. Either way, my offer stands. M. Zara looked at the message for a long time. Then at her list. Then out the window at the ocean. She thought about her grandmother again. About the stories she used to tell about leaving home, about making impossible choices, about surviving when survival seemed impossible. One story in particular came back to her now. Sometimes, her grandmother had said, you can't choose safety. Safety is a myth people tell themselves so they can sleep at night. You can only choose which danger you understand. And once you choose, you commit. No halfway. No regrets. You choose and you live with it. Zara picked up her phone and typed a response. I'll be there. The hours between her decision and 8 p.m. passed in a blur. She called Chi, who screamed for 10 straight minutes about everything from safety to sanity to whether Zara had completely lost her mind. He's a criminal, Chi kept saying. A literal criminal with murder plans and everything. I know. And you're going back to his place anyway. I am. Why? Give me one good reason why. Zara thought about it. Because he's the only person who's been completely honest with me. The CIA wants to use me. Dong-a wants to own me. Even you, babe, you love me, but you want me to be safe more than you want me to be happy. Minho told me exactly what he is and what he wants and gave me the choice anyway. That's worth something. Chi was quiet for a long moment. You're in love with him, aren't you? I barely know him. That's not an answer. I don't know what I am. But I know I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of playing it safe. Tired of half-living. Girl. Chi sighed. Okay. Okay. But you text me every hour. And if you don't, I'm calling everyone. Police, embassy, every news outlet in Korea. I'm not losing you to some Romeo and Juliet bullshit. Deal. Love you. Love you too, you absolutely insane woman. Zara hung up and started getting ready. Not the green dress this time, that felt like it belonged to last night, to a different version of this story. Instead, she chose black. Simple, elegant, backless. Her armor for whatever came next. She arrived at Marine City at exactly 8 p.m. The doorman recognized her this time, bowed slightly deeper. The elevator ride felt shorter. When the doors opened directly into Minho's apartment, he was waiting. He'd changed too. Black slacks, white shirt open at the collar, no tie. Barefoot. More relaxed than she'd seen him, but his eyes were cautious. Hopeful. You came, he said. I came. Zara stepped into the apartment, and the elevator doors closed behind her with a quiet finality. I have conditions. Name them. Complete honesty. About everything. Your family, your business, all of it. No more surprises. Done. I keep my job. My apartment. My life. I'm not disappearing into your world completely. Of course not. You're not a possession. And if I decide to leave, tomorrow, next week, next year, you let me go. No threats. No Protocol 7 replacement. Clean break. Minho was quiet for a moment. Then nodded. Agreed. Anything else? Yeah. One more thing. Zara stepped closer, looked him directly in the eyes. If you ever lie to me, even once, we're done. No second chances. No explanations. I walk and you don't follow. Understand? I understand. He reached out slowly, giving her time to move away. When she didn't, his hand cupped her face. I promise you, Zara. Complete honesty. Even when it hurts. Even when the truth makes you hate me. You'll always know exactly where you stand. Good. She leaned into his touch. Because I'm choosing you, Minho. I'm choosing this. But I'm doing it with my eyes wide open, and I need to know you're doing the same. I am. God, I am. He pulled her close, and she went willingly. You have no idea what this means to me. Then tell me. Show me. Be honest. He led her to the dining room, where he'd set out an elaborate dinner. Not catered, he'd cooked. The surprise must have shown on her face because he laughed. I do have skills beyond criminal enterprise, he said. My mother insisted all her children know how to cook. Said we needed to be able to survive without staff. They ate and talked. Really talked. He told her about his family, his father who'd built the business from smuggling to legitimate shipping and back again, his mother who'd tried to keep them human and died when Minho was 19, his younger sister who'd escaped the family entirely and lived in London pretending they didn't exist. He told her about the first time he'd hurt someone. 15 years old, defending his mother from one of his father's enemies. The way violence had come naturally to him and how that scared him more than the violence itself. He told her about the cage he lived in. The expectations, the constant surveillance, the knowledge that one mistake could start a war that would burn through Busan like wildfire. In return, Zara told him about Atlanta. About her grandmother who'd raised her when her parents couldn't. About grad school and the professor who'd tried to steal her research. About coming to Korea as an escape and building a new cage instead. She told him about the loneliness. The dancing. The performance of being strong when she felt like she was barely holding together. They talked until midnight, until the dinner was cold and forgotten, until they'd run out of secrets to share. Then Minho took her hand and led her to the windows overlooking the city. The CIA called again, didn't they? He asked. How did you know? Because I would have done the same thing in their position. What did you tell them? Zara pulled out her phone, dialed the number Agent Morrison had called from. It rang once before he answered. Miss Banks. I hope you're calling with good news. I'm calling to tell you I'm not interested in your protection. I'm staying in Korea. I'm finishing my research on my terms. And if you continue to surveil me or contact me, I'll publish everything I know about CIA operations in Korea. I have friends in journalism who'd love that story. Miss Banks, you're making a serious mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. Lose my number, Agent Morrison. She hung up and turned off her phone entirely. Minho was staring at her with something like awe. You just declared war on the CIA. No. I just told them I'm not playing their game. There's a difference. She looked up at him. I meant what I said. I'm finishing my research on my terms. That means publishing it publicly. Open source. Make it impossible for any one person or government to control. That's incredibly dangerous. I know. But it's the only way to be sure it's used right. Or at least used by everyone equally. She smiled. Think you can protect me through that? I'll die trying. He pulled her close, and the city lights painted them both in gold. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the most reckless. Both. Definitely both. He kissed her then, slow and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. Welcome to the dangerous side, Zara Banks. Been here all along, she said. Just finally admitted it. They stood there as the city breathed below them, two people who'd chosen each other despite every logical reason not to. Chose honesty over safety. Chose risk over regret. Outside, Busan glittered like scattered diamonds. Somewhere, the CIA was probably already planning their next move. Somewhere, Minho's enemies were watching and waiting. Somewhere, consequences were gathering like storm clouds. But in that moment, in that apartment suspended above the city, Zara felt something she hadn't felt in years. Free. She pulled back slightly, looked at Minho with a smile that was equal parts mischief and determination. So. What happens now? Now. He grinned, dangerous and beautiful. Now we change the world. Together. Sounds good to me. And somewhere in the background, barely noticeable, a clock struck midnight. A new day. A new choice. A new life beginning with eyes wide open and no regrets. Zara had walked into that party looking for one drink and an early night. Instead, she'd found a mafia boss with honest eyes, a surveillance system with her name on it, and the courage to choose danger over safety. She'd accidentally sat on a Korean mafia boss, and his whisper had frozen her in place. Now she was choosing to stay. And that made all the difference. If you've made it this far, you're probably wondering what happens next. Will Zara survive publishing her research? Can Minho really protect her from the CIA, his family, and everyone else who wants control? What secrets are still waiting to be uncovered? Drop a comment below telling me if you think Zara made the right choice. Team Minho or Team Run? And if you want to see what happens in part 2 when the real danger begins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. This is just the beginning of Zara and Minho's story. The real question is whether it's a love story, a tragedy, or something else entirely. I guess we'll find out together. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most dangerous choice is the only honest one. Choose wisely. Choose bravely. And when you choose, commit. Like this video if you're Team Zara, comment, Protocol 7, if you want the next chapter, and subscribe if you believe in stories where the woman makes her own impossible choices and lives with them.